All right, we're going. WDK episode 20.
20.
We don't know movies. As you can see, we're coming off of a good night. The Lakers just won about what was it, an hour ago?
It was like 30 minutes ago.
30
maybe.
minutes ago, yeah. I'm a happy person.
I'm like
He's a
damn, dude,
semi-happy, yeah.
what the hell, man? We almost had it again. We almost had it. At least they're not losing by like more than 10, though. You know, that's what I'm happy about.
Yeah, true. Hold on, my cats are being goofy right now.
They're hyper.
Hey, dummy. I should not have done that. They got way too scared. Well, the white one did. She ran him to the bed. No, they were just like fucking typing on my keyboard, and I only made that noise because I had no other choice. I tried to scoot her off, nothing did it. So then I have to, I'm actually kind of embarrassed that I did that on the podcast, but I'm not gonna edit it out because it's a good moment and it's a good, hilarious little thing. But they no longer have fucked up my other computer, mouse, keyboard, shit. So yeah, all is good. We got a couple films for you guys today, and I've also been hitting the films pretty hard this week. I watched 3 yesterday.
Nice. That's always a good day, in my opinion, when you get 3 under the belt.
Yeah.
It's a good day.
Because I remember I was texting you, and at first I was like, I saw 2 crappy movies today. And then I kind of ended up seeing 3 crappy movies. However, it did still feel like an accomplishment, though, and then they were all short, at least. Like, none of them were over 2 hours. Like, I think the longest one was like 1 hour 58, something like that.
Yeah, I just sometimes it's weird. Like, I'll notice that my last like 5 or 6 movies have been like 2.5 to 3. Like, I'm like,
Dang.
I'm like, what am I doing? Like, so then I'll like have to balance it out with like a classic, like a rewatch of a classic or something.
I'm very conscious about the film length because sometimes I have attention issues.
Yeah,
This depends on the film, yeah.
Yeah, that's why like some films you got chop them up, break them up a little bit.
Yeah, I read somewhere, I don't remember where. Actually, I think it was I lied. I don't remember where, but I remember it basically said you should give everything, television or film, 15 minutes. If you're not drawn in by the first 15 minutes, it's very okay to turn it off. Is what this article was saying.
Mike says like 40 minutes, I think.
That's kind of what I do. Yeah, I do more 40.
Because Mike's like, life's too short. Like I'm not gonna sit here and if something's not working by the second act, it's not gonna work for me by the third act.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10.
15, I did think was a little soon because there's definitely movies I didn't really understand at 15 minutes in, and then that have definitely drawn me in after.
Yeah.
And then there's also the flip side where like it wasn't good 15 minutes in and it's not good 40 minutes in. But yeah, I usually wait till before like with that film Angst. That JT almost picked it for movie night. That was it was 75 minutes and I turned it off at 40.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, even like when it's that short, you could probably even do like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I'm surprised I lasted so long. What I really, we'll talk about that another day. But it's Gaspar Noé. It's one of his favorite films, and normally that sounds cool. But then I remember one thing I hate about Gaspar Noé is his camera work. And this movie was basically is where he stole his camera work ideas from, which are to me are total ass. But
dude, I still need to watch some Gaspar Noé, dude.
You haven't seen a single film of his?
Never. It's a blind spot for sure.
You need to do that like tomorrow, or even when you get off tonight, even just a short one, because that's like he's like a very, at least in today, like in the, I don't know what realm you want, in the shock realm. I don't know what. In the film festival realm, where does he operate?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen any of his movies.
but you've come on, you've been around the movie scene. You know who his fans are. You know how you can't. Come on, you can't say that. I don't know. I've never seen this. You know who his fans are. You know what type of people he appeals to.
Yeah, yes and no. Like I've heard his name before, so I know who he is. But like, and you've talked about him to me before, so like, yeah, I guess I do have like somewhat of an idea of him. But as far as like, yeah, I don't know. I'm
just surprised because I know you're on film Twitter a lot, and film. He's a very, very important. He's someone that I would consider film Twitter to have a field day with. I don't know if they'll like or hate him, but he's gonna get talked about on film Twitter. I feel like
Film Twitter's got a short attention span. You know what I mean? It's like day to day, so it's just like one day.
That's so weird because he's like that's not making sense up here to me.
Well, he's not like Kubrick or something. Like that's like if Gaspar Noé has a new movie, like definitely Film Twitter's gonna be talking about him. But like on any given day, like probably not. Like maybe someone will be like, "Oh, I really like this Gaspar Noé film," but like I don't know. It's not like Kubrick, because like someone just published a Kubrick story today where it was like, "Oh, Kubrick never made a good movie." He's like one of those people. Yeah, he's one of those people who like
my face said it all. Yeah.
Yeah, like who if you post an article like that, people are gonna respond like, "You stupid, you stupid asshole, you're so wrong," But like, if someone's like, I don't know, I just feel like there's just two different leagues there. But like, end of the story is I need to check out more.
Yeah, I was gonna say, however, I will say, knowing your taste, I'm not sure if you're gonna love it, but it is worth at least watching one film of his.
He did Irreversible, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's the one I need to see.
That's the one you want to watch.
I've heard good things. Yeah, I heard good things about that one. Or no, wait, Climax. I heard better things about Climax.
I think I'd recommend Climax.
Yeah, Climax is the one I hear talk about the most.
So to the folks, real quick, that don't know, Gaspar Noé is a French film director. I think he's been around. His first film was in '98, which was kind of a Taxi Driver French ripoff. And I say that as a Taxi Driver fan and as a Gaspar Noé. I don't know, I'm not a fan, but I like that film. It's called I Stand Alone. But he's just kind of a edgy kind of guy. Lots of rainbow color palette.
I do like that.
Yeah, he does have good color palette. But yeah, he's an interesting guy. If you're into interesting, it's pretty intense. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, I might check him out. I usually like checking him out like as like his first movie to his last movie. So like,
gotcha.
I'll definitely start with that one. What's it called? I Stand Alone.
I Stand Alone. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds.
That
good.
was the one that got me into him.
Dope. Yeah, I'll check that one out.
And it's a quick 90 minutes too, so it's not too much of a time waster.
My favorite. 90 minutes is my favorite.
Exactly. So is Climax. Just figured out. Maybe even I don't know. Anyway, let's pop culture corner.
Sure. Yeah, I'm down.
Right, let's do a pop culture corner. Me or you?
I'll go first because like
right.
I'm super fucking obsessed. The last couple of days, I've been really obsessed with the Thinking Fellers Union Local 282.
Yeah.
I've been like, oh my god! I woke up this morning like, because the first time I listened to the album by them called Lovelyville, it's like their first album for Matador.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't that like their fourth record or something overall?
Yeah, but I thought it was their first
Matador. Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was their first record, but it's actually just their first record for Matador. But it's like, it's like 20 tracks or something like that. And like some of the tracks are just noise collages, and like so many of the songs are like so weird. Like they're just weird ideas. So like the first time you listen to it, or the first time I listened to it, I was like, I'm not even hearing any songs. Like I don't even know like what this is. But like by third or fourth listen, I'm like craving it, So like I woke up this morning like, fuck, I need to listen to Lovelyville right away. And it fucking delivers the more you live in that world. So, and then I listened to their second one for Matador, and then I actually listened to a little bit of Strangers in the Universe, I think it's called.
Yeah, Strangers.
That one was tripping me out because like that's like their Crooked Rain basically.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the only one I'm familiar with.
Where like this really weird band turns like, makes kind of like a more of a mainstream album. So like, but it's still weirdly them. So it's cool. But yeah, I do like their experimental stuff. So if you like experimental rock, Thinking Fellers Union Local 282 is
282.
Like, yeah, and it's like it shouldn't work. The music shouldn't work. It should be like these like really pretentious like art school kids like making these like kind of want to be half Japanese songs, but it's like actually works really well.
Did they actually all meet in art school?
I think so. I'm pretty sure they did.
Wow.
And well, I think it's cool. I think it's cool when bands meet like that.
It is what it is, and I don't. It's tough, As a Black Flag, as a punk rocker, naturally stuff like that kind of repulses me. But at the same time, I know there's groups like there's other groups that I respect that have been formed in universities, so it's interesting.
Like this is definitely not like it's like punk. It's like most indie rock from the '90s, where it's like punk influence, but it's like that's where it ends, kind of where where it's just like taking punk like practices and applying it to like this weird art rock show, So that's why I like it. It's really cool. Sounds a lot like Mudhoney at times, which I also really like. And yeah, Thinking Feathers Union Local 282.
So I heard you mention this yesterday, but to the other people out there, the listeners, I found out about them on, I believe, a 4chan thread. And basically the thread was something like some guy was complaining, I keep seeing you guys all post the same 5 artists. Pavement, Built to Spill, Slint, and this. Here's some alternatives to all those groups. And so in Slint, they're listing like Rodan, all these, Polvo, Unwound, I think might have been in there. And then for the Pavement one, that's how I discovered Thinking Fellers Union, or Thinking. So I thought it was Thinking, but it's Thinking.
Yeah.
Thinking Fellas Union.
It's Fellers too. It's
Fellers,
like thinking,
not fellas. Shit.
I know. This is what I'm saying. Like you think like a band with this complicated of a band name like would suck, because it's like it's like the world is a beautiful place and I am no longer afraid to die, or like one of those like emo titles where it's like super long and like you're like this is kind of like.
I feel like Thinking Fella, that kind of the vibe that gives me is definitely more like not art rock. But I definitely don't get that vibe, the same vibe as like The World is a Beautiful Place. I definitely don't think Thinking Fellers Union is an emo group.
Oh, see, I just think it's like, just the name is just kind of pretentious. Like what is that? Empire, I Am a Lonely Estate.
But those are actually pretentious. Thinking Fellers Union sounds just, I don't know, sounds like a term that would have maybe been out of the Great Depression or something, not like some whiny white kid in Minnesota cutting himself.
Yeah, I mean, I just mean that like the pretentious long name, like I'm not saying they sound the same, but like just like the pretentious long.
I mean, name. Yeah, they're both long, but I don't think Thinking Fellers Union 282 is very pretentious. It's just
it's Thinking Fellers Union Local 282.
Oh yeah, whatever. I mean,
it's like that's what I mean. It's just funny to me that it's so
funny.
Long.
I mean, like I want to start a band called Dreamhouse LLC, but it's like that's not pretentious. It's just kind of out there and weird.
But
why would you name your band after an LLC? No, the LLC is in the band name.
Yeah, Thinking Fellers Union Local 282. It's got such like a when you put that local in there, it just upsets it
probably is just something one of the members' dad was a part of. Except they replaced it with Thinking Fella. Their dad was probably a part of some Union Local 282, and they slapped 2 other words on it to make it sound funny.
That's great, because like a lot of the songs on Lovelyville, it's like basically it sounds like someone just started fucking around, like started noodling on the guitar or something, and then they just built a really complex, esoteric song around it, and it's like probably the same thing with the title, where someone
made a joke,
and then made a joke
off as a joke.
Yeah, and then like
a thing.
It's actually like kind of complicated and like kind of artsy and like like so that's why the album works. It shouldn't work. Like I don't know. That's why I love it. Shouldn't work. Those bands always fail in my opinion. Like I don't listen to that much experimental music though, so like I can't really say that like definitively. But most of the time I'm like, I want a song, But,
yeah, I was gonna say I know that's kind of, but I mean you like shit like U.S. Maple. That's pretty on song like.
True. I guess it depends on like the package, because that's
and
like
how it's constructed. Yeah,
because like Thinking Fellers,
that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
They're more of like a indie adjacent versus like noise adjacent, even though they do have noisy songs.
No, you're right though. You're definitely right.
So yeah, but I agree. It just depends. Like, because like a cluster song is like, I mean, is that really a song? You know what I mean? Like, not really, but it's really cool and fun to listen to. So I don't know. But yeah, anyway, that's my pop culture corner.
I would definitely, to the viewers out there, either start from the beginning like Danny did, or start from Strangers of the Universe. That's the big one that all the popular.
Yeah, I would put it like this, basically. Like, if you already listen to Pavement, which you should probably listen to Pavement before Thinking Fellers, it's kind of like a pre-homework assignment. But yeah, if you already like Pavement, if your favorite Pavement album is Slanted Enchanted, start with Lovelyville. If your favorite album is Crooked Rain, start with Strangers from Universe. That's how I would put it.
Fair enough. Okay, that sounds good. I think the viewers can digest that.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Or maybe they stopped listening like 10 minutes ago. Like, I don't care about this stupid fucking pretentious ass art rock band.
Like, as soon as I found out how long the name was, I turned it off.
Yeah, I turned it off mute. Thinking Fellers Local Union 282. What the hell is wrong with you guys? But yeah.
All right, well here I go. Here's mine. So I've been listening to some kind of stranger, not stranger, just a little out there for me. I found out that Spotify has all of the Warped Tour 2005, 2004,
Yeah,
all the samplers.
I saw that
I'm
earlier.
going through all those again.
I almost gasped aloud when I saw Pennywise earlier.
Oh yeah, you're like, why is he listening to Pennywise? And it's, oh,
I
it's
was
because it's
like,
on this compilation
yeah. As soon as I saw the compilation, I was
that
like,
he listened to
it's
when he was
allowed.
in seventh grade. Yeah,
It's allowed.
that was a By the way, folks, that was a compilation where this is a true story. I had the physical copy of the disc, and PE and junior high when it was raining, they would just have everyone sit in the hang out in the gym, and you could give the teacher a CD to play. It was a 2-disc thing, so I gave on my period of third period or whatever, I gave them the first CD. She played it until I left, got to back. Then I gave it to my homie, and I'm like, hey, play CD number 2. Apparently, it got turned off 3 songs in because there was screaming in song number 3. But that I've been getting back into Guar, like I was with you, 6 days ago. We were listening to a bunch of Guar. I re-listened to almost in full. Thank you for using GTL.
Hell yeah.
Who we will be going more in depth about his situation in a future episode coming soon.
Definitely have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta do more research. We can't come out here unprepared like we normally are. And lastly, kind of weird, but I'm listening to the Tim Armstrong solo shit, Poet's Life.
Nice.
He had one solo record in 2007. Listeners, if you aren't familiar with Tim Armstrong, he is the Brains song. I don't know. Is he the main songwriter? I don't know. But he's the main guy behind the pop punk or group. I don't know. I don't want to call Rancid pop punk, but
I think like a lot of people just consider them like, even though they're older now, they're like punk. Just I think a lot of people.
I don't know. I just feel like punk doesn't get radio play. So the fact that that they are is kind of, like, your songs are catchy. Does this really qualify?
Yeah, I don't know. It gets really. I mean, we could debate. That's like a whole episode.
What band were we even just talking about? I don't even fucking remember.
Rancid.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, yeah. It's tough because a lot of their stuff is very sing-songy, but at the same time they have other records that are just brutal. But
yeah,
exactly. That's a big can of worms to open up.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, shit. Should we? I guess we should move on to our first topic then.
Okie dokie.
It's definitely going to be more your expertise than mine.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I originally wanted to pair this up with another Kauffman, just so you get like a feeling for like what a Kauffman film is.
The Syndicate New York, but it's in some weird other language. Syndicucoach New York.
Synecdoche.
Synecdoche Tony Kukoc. New York. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I had a good Tony Kukoc joke opportunity.
Executed well, my friend. Yeah.
Thank you.
That was his first movie, but he's also done 2 movies with Spike Jonze. Spike Jonze's first 2 movies are written by Andy Kaufman, and then he also wrote Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Andy wasn't his name Charlie?
Charlie Kaufman, yeah.
Yeah, Andy Kaufman's the like old dude.
Andy Kaufman is the guy. Yes, Andy Kaufman is the guy from, what is it, Man on the Moon or something like that.
I don't know. I just know that Built to Spill references.
Yes. I always get them mixed up, dude. Yeah, Charlie Kaufman.
I'm pretty sure Charlie's just his son, right? Just kidding.
Yeah,
this is not true, listeners. I don't want to be spreading misinformation.
But yeah, basically, he's been in the game for like a couple decades now. He's worked with some pretty great directors, and he started making movies in like 2008, 2009 or something.
Isn't
like that
when Syndicate New York came out in 2012?
Yeah, I think Synecdoche might have come out in 2009.
Okay.
I don't know 100% though. But yeah, so he came out with another movie called Anomalisa, which I actually saw. That was like one of the first movies I saw in LA at the ArcLight Theater, which is like a really well-known theater right there by Amoeba Records,
Nice.
And so like every time I watch that movie, I'm like basically transported back to the ArcLight. So that one I'm kind of like partial to, where I'm just like, oh, this is amazing, I love it, because that was a really fun moving-going experience. Then yeah, he just came out with a new movie like last month, I guess. It's been a month already.
Yeah, it's a Netflix original.
Yeah, it's called I'm Thinking of Ending Things. It's his third film. Yeah, it's probably his most controversial film up to this point, I would say.
Controversial in terms of,
or I should say, polarizing.
Okay,
It's his most
that makes more
polarizing film.
sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So basically, half of film Twitter loved it, half of film Twitter. I would even say 75% of film Twitter hated it, and then 25% of film
Yeah, I
Twitter
was gonna
loved
say
it.
I definitely did not like it, but I'll get more into that later.
Yeah, it's like one of those things, right? Like where I totally get it why someone wouldn't like it, but if like you're speaking that language, if it's on your wavelength, it's gonna be like no one makes movies like him. Like he's just in a league of his own as far as that type of movie goes. Of like the postmodern deconstructionist type of movie. And I think that the more you know about like stuff that he's talking about, and the more you don't care about like characters or like plot or any things like that normally make a good movie, like the better his movies become. Because like that is his biggest weakness, is that he doesn't write normal movies. So like they're often like that's often like a lot of people say that's often like a way to get around your own inability to write characters or like plot, because like you can't write like you can't write a normal story, so you gotta throw some shit at the wall.
You're like
You know,
trying to be nice, but you're secretly bagging on him.
well, because it's like a
Yeah, this
valid.
guy can't write characters for shit, so he has
I
to resort to this cheap trickery.
yes, I would say that is a valid criticism. I wouldn't
Ouch. That's it.
I
That's
wouldn't
from
say
you, not me. You said it. I'm just
no.
kidding.
I don't think like it's one of those things, right?
Oh,
Where it's
okay. I
like
get what you mean. Yeah,
I
you'd say it
think
to his face.
yeah, I think he would agree in some respect. I don't think he would take it. I think he'd be like me. I don't think he takes it as like a huge negative, like where it's like, oh, I'm a failed as an art. No, he's just like, you got to find the stories that speak to,
Yeah.
because it's an adaptation too.
Oh yeah,
So
that's right. That's right.
so
When did
it's
the book
like,
come out? 2016.
yeah, I don't know. I think it's recently. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was recently.
Yeah. I just read the
Because
Wikipedia article a lot.
yeah, so it is an adaptation. So it was one of those things where he's like, the story spoke to me. I had my own take on it, and I made a movie about it. So
Yeah.
I respect it in that aspect. But yeah, I think as long as you don't care about that stuff necessarily, as long as you're more interested in like the construction of it and like kind of like the thematics of it, it's a really great movie. But like if you're, like it's just one of those things where it's like if it's not on your wavelength, like I would not expect someone to like it who like doesn't like those movies to begin with. It's not gonna like convert anyone. Is basically what I'm saying.
I guess like because I know it's definitely not on my wavelength, but that was not why I disliked it. It had nothing to do with the characters and the lady or whatever. Here, I guess should I jump in on my half?
Yeah.
All right, so I didn't finish the movie. If I'm going to be honest with you,
Oh.
hard, rough to finish. Not an easy task. However, I will say I absolutely loved the first scene. The first scene when they're driving over to his parents' house. So okay, so let me back up a little bit, folks. Basically, just the main kind of plot, I guess, is basically this lady's been dating this guy for 6 weeks, and they're finally going to go over to his parents' house in this abandoned farm area to meet his parents for the first time. And that's kind of all, even though the movie is about much more, that's kind of what the Letterboxd thing said. It was very, very minimal about about that, like what the plot contained, I guess. Here, let me read it. Nothing is as it seems when a woman experiencing misgivings about her new boyfriend joins him on a road trip to meet his parents at their remote farm. Now, they leave the farm before halfway into the fucking movie, okay? They're already driving back, and an hour hasn't passed yet. So I don't know how you can get away with making that the synopsis.
Well, this is that's what I was talking about. Is that he's kind of throwing plot and all that stuff that you would normally like classify a movie, like like the shorthand, like I don't know, like Star Wars. Luke
Yeah.
has to save
Well,
Leia
then,
from
well, then
Darth
maybe
Vader.
say it's about two lovers who are experiencing, you know what I mean? Whoever wrote this just didn't, they should be fired, I guess. Because when you give this type of synopsis, it's completely misleading. And maybe that's, I mean, I don't think I liked it. Basically, my review was 5 words. As pretentious gets.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how I would describe the movie though. Like it's like
To me,
I
I would
agree that
describe it
that does
as
it. Oh,
the
sorry.
absolute most pretentious bullshit I've ever seen. No, I lied.
But I mean, you wouldn't write a
Possession's
letterbox
worse.
you wouldn't write a letterbox saying this is the most pretentious movie I've ever seen.
Exactly. I left it to 5 words. It's pretentious. It's pretentious.
No, but I mean, like, I was trying to like come up with a synopsis of it.
Oh,
Like,
I
I'm
would
trying
just
to
say
think like,
it's about two people that are experiencing misgivings in their relationship. I wouldn't have added the parent thing in there since that's less than half the film.
yeah, I
I would
guess,
just say it's
yeah,
about a couple who's struggling with a relationship. I don't
I
know.
guess that would be the best
That's a
way.
better, yeah, that's a lot better of an explanation, at least from the over, because I think I made it about a little over halfway. Then I just started reading Wikipedia.
Oh
And
yeah. Well, next time we'll talk about it more because we can just we'll do two movies that like we want to watch all the way through. You know what I mean?
yeah, I guess. No,
Because
no,
yeah,
definitely. So not, I
because
guess.
like
I was going to say, I guess about this film. This is
yeah, because
another,
the ending's like a big part of it. It
yeah,
like gets
that's one thing I was going to say. Normally, I don't hate endings you have to interpret. First Reformed, I loved that ending. I know a lot of people felt the opposite way because there's left a lot up to interpretation. I refuse to show my mom any movies that leave a lot up because she just, what do you think it means? And it's just like, that's the whole point is you're supposed to make your decision, not me. No,
yeah.
my mom really does not like films like that. I personally don't really, as long as it somewhat ties it up. It doesn't have to tie everything up completely, but it has to somewhat make sense. To me, I fast forwarded. You know me, I'm a fast forwarder. I'm guilty of that. And just the whole bullshit about the school play and the fucking janitor and a bunch of this other shit. It just seemed very, very, very pretentious. Like, I'm sure it all stands for something, and I'm sure it's all cool and hipster when you get it, but the characters are he made a movie where I did not give a fuck. I truly did not give a single fuck about what happened to anybody in that movie. And so when they start randomly showing like scenes from high schools and it's like, oh, this dancer represents Laura, but this dancer represents James. It's like, okay, this is getting kind of weird here, okay? This is what the fuck?
Yeah.
They're
No.
completely
Oh
different. It's
yeah.
not like young James and young Laura. It's like completely different actors, and they're
Well,
supposed to represent. Like, it was like that's something I would have never got unless I read the fucking Wikipedia.
yeah, and that's like the appeal for people like me is the sort of like puzzle box like of like, oh, like I noticed that like she's wearing a different outfit in the scene that she was when he picked her up, or like
That and
I
con-
noticed that
Go
I
ahead.
know
Sorry.
I noticed that her name is changing. Or like I noticed, like like that's what I love about movies is like the ability to be like, all right, next time I watch this, I'm gonna be more aware that he's trying to tell me something, and he's trying to connect the dots, and he's telling it in this really weird way. Because like what he's trying to do basically is make a movie about like the interiority of your mind, So it's like,
Yeah, and I liked that part. That's why I really liked the first conversation on their way to meet the parents. I thought the way that they went back and forth between her mind and what she was saying out loud and what he was saying, I thought that was brilliant.
well, because like
That was
yeah,
great. Yeah.
basically like spoiler alert, like she's just a figment of his imagination, like he's
How
she's
far
his
into the pod? I need to write this down so I can edit it. I'm just kidding.
um
No, that's all good.
for the spoiler alert. Yeah, because like
It'll be a
yeah that
quick one. It'll be a quick spoiler alert.
yeah because like if it's the movie's already about for a month, if you haven't seen it
Good
already,
point.
you know what
Then
I
you're
mean, like,
good point. Yeah, you're right. If you haven't seen
and
it by now, you're probably not gonna be interested or to see it.
and if you already like again, like if like you already know you're gonna like the movie, like the more you know about it, the more it's gonna help you watching it.
Yeah.
And if you already know you're not gonna watch it, then like what does a spoiler matter,
I think there's like you said, I think there's a very, very small amount of people that this film appeals to.
Yes.
And one mistake about me as a film watcher, I don't know, film viewer is that I branch out too often, which is something you would never think is bad, but it kind of just leads to me hating a lot of shit. Like why the
Hmm.
fuck did I watch this? I knew I wasn't gonna like it.
I
I knew
think
it.
I think
Why
it's
did I watch it? Because
I
I'm
think it,
trying to be a good person and I'm trying to give everybody a chance to prove themselves to me.
yeah, because like I think like like you're right. You eventually do know like what movies you're gonna like usually,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like you should always be trying to like watch stuff that you know you're not gonna like, or like try to understand why you don't like them.
I
Because I
can,
think
yeah. I
That
agree
is
with
useful.
you.
You know, that's useful because like if you're just like, I'm only gonna watch stuff that I know I'm gonna like, then like if you become like, not, a lack of a better word, you become blind in a lot of ways to like,
Yeah, I get what you mean.
what maybe like makes what you, because it's good to have contrast. It's good to watch like a bad movie. Like one of my favorite movies is like a bad movie that's interesting by like a good director. Like where it's like a director I like
I'm
and like
guessing that's Showgirls.
no, see, Showgirls is actually good. Like it's
Oh
like
no,
I actually
I was just messing.
I yeah I actually think Showgirls is good.
Letter, but I know that's also a very polarizing film. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't speak on the matter. But I just know Letterboxd has that ranked real low for a Verhoeven,
Yeah, see, like
like
I know
criminally low for a Verhoeven.
if we ever talk about it, I'll come with like some
We'll come
great art.
prepared. All
Yeah, I'll
right.
come with some great articles from people I really respect who like they're the reason like I appreciate the movie the way I do. Like people who I really
Yeah, yeah,
respect are like, no, like people are tripping. Because like, yeah, that's another good point. It's like it's a very polarizing film. We go on
yeah.
film Twitter and take a poll, like, is Showgirls actually good or is it bullshit? It's probably gonna be close to 50-50. Like, like
Gotcha.
half the people are gonna be like, yeah, the movie's so bad. Like, and then the other half are like, no, like this movie's a masterpiece. This might even be Verhoeven's best film, like, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, you get like polar. That's why I like those kind of films though, because like it makes it like it's kind of like a challenge in a way to like it's like
Whoever says that
you're,
that's the best Verhoeven film needs to be slapped.
no, I think that's if you have a good argument for it, I think that's totally valid. It's not my favorite Verhoeven film, but I could definitely see someone connecting
Well,
to Showgirls.
just compared to everything else he's done, it's just like, why the fuck would you pick Showgirls?
It's in that run
Total
though.
Recall, fucking, Starship Troopers, RoboCop.
Yeah, I like all those movies. I
It's
think
just that there's a noticeable difference between those three and Showgirls,
I wouldn't say like
or at
it's
least
like
noticeable style difference.
if it's all depends if you like Showgirls. If you like Showgirls, it's like fits very nicely in like
Yeah,
his oeuvre from like what was that 87 to 99 or
I
whatever
just I just meant
97.
like stylistically wise. There's no like stop motion going on. There's no giant robots. There's not a lot of
Uh, but
blood
it's
and
like
gore.
Basic Instinct. It's like very similar to like Basic Instinct where it's like a sex film. It's like one
See,
of his sex films.
that one I'm holding off on because it's a sex film. If I want to watch sex, I'll fucking jerk off on Pornhub.
That's kind of what Verhoeven's saying though. Is in a way he's saying like
Then why the
uh,
fuck would I watch it?
Americans he's like basically every Verhoeven movie is in some way like at least in that golden run that he's done. It's like critiquing America. Like RoboCop is like critiquing how we view
Yeah,
police.
I like it. You definitely got to add that in that run because he has released
Yeah,
some ass, and that's why he is not in my top 5 because he's released garbage before.
he is underrated though. I would say. I
Yeah,
think for
I'd say
like
so, but it's just like the exact opposite of Tarantino, who like, like it's funny. Tarantino's. I don't think. Well, I know there's a couple of his in my top 10, but just the fact that he only gets so high up on my rating just because he has no stinkers, and that's, I guess, really important to me apparently.
yeah, I think that's definitely the sign of like one of your favorite directors.
Because
If you
Sam
can say like
Peckinpah has stinkers, but as a human being, he was just way better than Tarantino. Tarantino's like a weird foot fetish nerd.
yeah, Tarantino's a big old nerd.
Whereas Sam Peckinpah was like a legitimate badass.
It's like it's so funny that you say that because it's like that's a great metaphor for like the '90s generation of filmmakers like Tarantino, Paul Thomas Anderson, like people like that, where they're worshiping people like Peckinpah, who are like these
Yeah.
badasses that are railing against the system
I mean,
and
there's got to
stuff.
be someone in the '90s that did that. No, is everybody like a feminine nerd?
Everyone's pretty nerdy in the '90s. That's kind of when like
But are they all feminine too? Are they all like,
wait,
Like
what do you mean?
like whiny. Like Sam Peckinpah was and Robert Altman. Those were men. You know what I
That's
mean?
what I mean. Yeah.
And I hate to sound like a corny like a Joe Rogan guest, but like I can't think of anyone in the '90s who was a man like Peckinpah, Altman,
Yeah,
Scorsese.
that's why it's kind of funny that they like worship these guys. Like it's just kind of funny to me that like they all kind of like the
Like, yeah,
90s.
I'm about to get my dick cut off, and I'm a huge fan of Sam Peckinpah. Yeah, I'm gonna have a sex change operation, and I'm a huge Sam Peckinpah fan.
But yeah, like Paul Thomas, I never realized how much like Paul Thomas Anderson was like influenced by like Robert Altman and like how much he like digs those old movies, like Jonathan
Yeah,
Demme movies and stuff. And it's like it's cool in a way for me because it's like, you know, like it kind of tells a story of like the
Yeah.
70s paved the way for the 90s, which paves the
Well,
way for now. It's cool in that way, but yeah, you're right that they're not
well, plus
they're two different types of people.
plus I also think PTA is just like a lot more classy than most '90s directors. You know, not a lot of interviews, kind of elusive. Where Tarantino will just, you know, like spout out a bunch of bullshit on any random news channel.
Tarantino likes to talk shit. That's what I love that. I kind of love that about him. He always has a take. You know, he's a true film nerd.
What shit has he talked? Usually, I just hear him glorifying movies he likes, which is one thing I do love about him. But I rarely hear him saying this sucked. You know, the only time I can think of is when he called out the two Matrixes. He basically said the very first Matrix is one of my top 10 films ever, but the trilogy was ruined. That's what he said.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just heard him like, I guess talking shit isn't necessarily what I mean in this case, but like he's done like analysis of like Top Gun, where like it's clear he's not a fan of Top Gun, but he's like, you know, it's like dissecting it and telling you like why this movie is so crazy, like, and it's like,
Yeah.
and then he's also I've heard him also talk shit on 1917 when he was discussing how like Dunkirk was his favorite movie of like the last you know, the decade. It's in his top 3, and he's like, you know,
that's a hardcore disagree for me.
yeah,
But
that
then again, he also said Jackie Chan in Police Story 3, Super Cop, was better than Buster Keaton, which is like, come the fuck on, dude. That's a bold claim, and I watched both, and Buster is infinitely better. Sorry, Jackie, I love you.
yeah, that's definitely a crazy take,
But yeah.
he definitely got me to appreciate Dunkirk more because I like that movie, but then like when I heard him talk about it, I was like, damn, like I think I agree, and then I watched it and I was like, I definitely agree.
Whatever, I was about to make a joke, whatever drugs Tarantino, but Tarantino doesn't do drugs, he just sniffs feet. So whatever foot sniffing scent he's high on, where he calls Dunkirk the best war movie of all time, let me have some, because I saw that movie and it sucked. Or
Yeah,
no,
I liked
not
it.
sucked because I know you like it, so I won't like bag too much. But it's just like Apocalypse Now exists. How is Dunkirk the best war movie when we have Apocalypse Now just sitting over here in the corner?
Well, he was saying it's the best of the last decade.
Oh
Dunkirk's
shit!
the best movie, one of the best
The
movies of the
last
last decade.
decade.
Yeah, the last decade.
Well, that's not a very high bar to set.
I mean, I don't know. I think there's some great movies, but yeah.
No, I mean last year, 2019 was great, but almost everything else was pretty. Like
I mean,
2014, what was great that came out in 2014? Like multiple, like 5 things, like 5 killer films. Those 5 killer films, like we have Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Lighthouse, fucking The Irishman, Uncut Gems, Parasite. That's 5 amazing films right there.
yeah, I don't know. It just depends on how you look at it. Because like for me,
2014, what were films that are on those caliber in 2014?
I mean, I could look at my list.
Yeah, it's worth a shot. I'm literally trying to find my phone right now so I can look it up on Letterboxd.
Yeah, because like basically my thing is like every year, you know, I have a top 10. So like I always ride for those movies. You know, I always be like, at least these 10 movies are like certified classics in my opinion.
Yeah, but
You know?
are they as certified classic as the 5 I just listed in 2019?
2019 was probably like top 3 strongest year of last decade. I have to admit, like it was a very strong year last year. It was like embarrassment of riches. Like
that's why I'm like really surprised you're saying every other year was.
So we got Grand Budapest Hotel, we got Interstellar,
Pretentious.
which I love.
Super pretentious.
We got Boyhood, which I love. See, these are movies I love though. So you know, it's all
movies
relative.
that women watch. I'm just kidding. Interstellar is what like dipshit nerds watch.
Disagree.
It's so boring.
I like it. I think
it's so boring.
I like space movies, and I especially love
space
movies.
Oh my god!
Where there's
there's space movies are so fucking boring. 2001, I love that film to death. That's like the one exception.
Yeah, I love space movies. That's why I loved Ad Astra from last year so much.
Yeah.
Because like I'm such a sucker.
Did you like The Martian?
No, I did not like The Martian.
That's a space movie.
I know, but I don't like Ridley Scott.
I hate Scott too, but I just hated it because the plot was fucking stupid.
The one thing I like,
potatoes out of your own shit. Come on, you can do better than that, Ridley.
I like the science aspect of The Martian. That was my favorite part of it. I actually liked all the
Oh
growing his
god.
crops on a like a biosphere and stuff. I thought that was cool. But I just don't like it won an Academy Award, I think, for a comedy or something like that. It was like
What?
or it was yeah, it was like nominated for comedy.
Interstellar.
No, The Martian.
Oh, The Martian. Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah.
Well, that's still
And then,
just as shocking.
and I'm just like, what the hell? But yeah, like 2014 has It Follows, which I think
Nah, I'm literally looking
that's
at right now. We have Whiplash is the only film I like out of this
like
top. Birdman
if
was all right. Birdman was good.
It Follows, that film sparks like the horror renaissance that
God.
like we're currently still in, you know. So like that was an important movie.
Oh
There's
Lord.
the Safdie's first film, Heaven Knows What.
Oh
That's really
Lord.
good. Nightcrawler. Like there's good movies 2014
Those
for
are
sure.
nowhere near the level that Parasite and The Lighthouse were on. John Wick? Come on!
The first John Wick's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's not fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's good movies that came out in 20. All those movies you said, I'm sure they're good, but are they as good as Parasite? The Light? No. At least not to me. To me, those 5 films that I mentioned in 2019 that I said really, I didn't even mention Jojo Rabbit. I specifically chose 2019 films that were actually, widely considered good because I know Jojo Rabbit is kind of a polarizing.
I think I think 2019 is definitely a better year, but I was just trying to make the point that I think
100%.
2014 was also a great year for movies. Like for me, it was a great year
I
for
can
movies.
I can go down every other year in that decade that isn't 2019, and most likely 2019 is going to beat it. Yeah, I'm sure there's great movies. Yeah, they're good, but is it better than 2019? No, it's not.
Yeah, I don't
2017,
know.
Get Out, Lady Bird, haven't seen.
I like Lady Bird.
Baby Driver, saw
And
it,
I still
forgettable.
haven't
Forgot
seen.
about that.
Yeah, I still haven't seen Baby Driver.
Don't.
I need to see it. Well, I want to see it.
If you want to see it, I saw it, and I don't remember a goddamn thing about it, which will make you, which should be telling. Call Me by Your Name. Actually, I like that movie. I just think it's incredibly pretentious.
I like that movie too.
Dunkirk, the shitty Thor. Like, these are awful.
Oh,
They're supposed to be the most popular films of 2017.
did you
Right.
see did you see that Kanye tweet today? I think it was today. It might have been last
I've
night.
been seeing a lot of them, yeah.
So he tweeted a picture of his like movie room.
Oh,
And
I
it's
did
like,
not see this one.
and like the captions, like he's like, I stay watching Blade Runner, and it just has like a screen cap of fucking like Harrison Ford talking to fucking Ryan Gosling, and it was just so funny because like one, it's funny that he watches that movie over and over. Like it's a pretty like slow movie to watch over and over. It's also funny that he has his own movie room that has this like like the most gigantic screen I've ever seen, like just the biggest fucking screen I've ever seen. And it was funny because like a bunch of film nerds were like dunking on him because like they're like, oh, wrong aspect ratio, or like his colors are all the colors on his fucking projector TV are all fucked up. Like it was just funny. But that just when you said Blade Runner, it immediately made me think of like Kanye watching Blade Runner, like or Kanye like if he did listen to our podcast right now, he'd be like, oh, what the fuck, this fool's talking shit on Blade Runner, like.
I wasn't talking shit. I know. I was just saying. I said the remake, the one that Blade Runner was it 2049 or whatever.
Yeah, that's the one he rewatches.
Harrison Ford is in that one too.
Pretty sure.
All right. You would know better than I would.
Yeah,
you would know better than I would.
Yeah, he is in it.
What was I gonna say? But yeah, just like every other. I'm 2018 now. I mean, we could just keep going, but yeah, a lot of crap, or not crap, but just stuff that is just nowhere. It's crap compared to Parasite, so on and so forth. I don't know. Parasite wowed the fuck out of me. I'm still like shook over that shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just, like I said, every year for me is a good year. Some years are better, but it's all relative.
You're way too positive.
Because I don't know. The way I always think about it is like, I love movies. Like
I'm looking at 2012, and like the first like half of the first 8 are superhero or Marvel fucking films. And I know you're not a Marvel film fan. I mean, you don't hate them, but I know you're not a fan.
Yeah, I'm not giving like Ant-Man 4 stars or anything like that.
Like The Dark Knight Rises. Yeah, I'm gonna go see that in theaters. Sure. I don't know how that. Let me guess. Batman wins.
Yeah.
Like every zombie film, like I Am Legend. Let me guess. They make it to the sanctuary. See, that's why I love New Hollywood. That's why I love all these 70s films you showing me. Because the endings are nuts.
Yeah,
They're always
I love it.
unpredictable. Yeah, exactly. It really
I
makes
love it.
me, I
If I
never,
ever make
yeah,
if I ever make a movie, I want it to have like, or if I write a book or something, like I always want the ending to be one of those where you put it down and you're like
exactly,
fuck,
exactly.
like you're like fuck that like it's not what I was hoping for, but it's probably like more realistic. You know, like when the hero dies or like
Yeah.
when
Yeah,
someone.
that's kind of one reason why I absolutely hate superhero movies and zombie films is that they're all fucking the same. They're all the same. Show me one that isn't.
Yeah, that's why people like them. That's why I like them. You know, that's why you like. That's why people like horror because it's like,
I'm
it's
gonna
just
unload the full clip into my head.
yeah, it's just preference. You know, it's just some people like certain things. I like horror, and I'm starting to get more into horror. But that's definitely like if you don't like the things horror is like the the cheesiness or like the recycled tropes or like if you're not into that, yeah, like a horror film is gonna be
Well,
some
it's
bullshit.
it's weird because there are films that I like that they call horror that I wouldn't consider horror, like Midsummer. That's a horror film. Not to me. It's just a really cool cult movie. It's just dark and fucked up. It's not a horror film.
Yeah, it's just
Um,
again that's like that is one of the biggest debates in film right now is like
yeah.
because like people like to consider that stuff elevated horror and like so then
Jesus
that
Christ, that's
starts a
so pretentious.
exactly that starts a whole
So
another
fucking pretentious.
because it's like you bring up a
Oh
question,
Lord.
is it even horror to begin with? That's question one. Question two, if it is elevated horror, what does that make the horror that's below it? Does that make it dumb horror? You know what I mean? Like people are like
That's
take it,
exactly what it makes it. Yeah.
like
We're
people
just
take a
fucking around.
no, yeah, but that's what people say. They're like, well, if it's elevated horror, then you're telling me like because I like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I'm dumb or something, like
Yes, that's
so
exactly what I'm saying. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not.
yeah, but like so like yeah, that's a whole another can of worms. But yeah, exactly. It gets complicated when like people are like, yeah, this is a horror movie,
Yeah,
and you're like, well, like all that really like happened really was like someone got scared like one scene, and like I wasn't scared at all. So how is that a horror movie? You know?
exactly. That's kind of where I'm coming from. Yeah, it's like I don't find any of this scary. It's just really cool and interesting.
So it's just
Uh,
that's when people start coming with the formal
it's a
techniques
horror
like
movie because I got scared.
yeah. I mean,
That's not how it works.
if you can make like I think if you can make an argument like hey like Midsummer is following in the tradition of like The Wicker Man, which is a horror movie and like blah blah like I think that's a pretty good argument. But I also agree that like if something doesn't scare you, then like maybe
The Wicker
for
Man was an
you
ass horror movie.
it was bad. I mean, it wasn't. I gave it 3.5 because it's a cool idea, but the acting was so bad. Remember, it was just like, I was like, this is really bad. Like, this is laughably bad acting.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I think I gave it a 3, and even that's too nice.
It's just a cool idea. That's like the whole reason the movie gets any love from me. It's because it's like a cool idea.
That is a cool idea. I do agree. Yeah.
But the
Oh yeah,
acting was so
shit,
bad.
man. One thing I did want to say earlier that I really liked your point about was the fact that you should be able to, if you watch a film and you don't like it, you should be able to explain why. I
Yeah,
think that is very important. Yeah.
because like sometimes you'll even find out like at least I'm just speaking like what happens to me. Like sometimes I won't like a film, and then I'll realize like I went in already knowing I wasn't gonna like it, so like I had already decided before I even watched it, you know. And
Is that truly
sometimes
deciding before you watch it, or is that just kind of being in tune with your gut?
sometimes
Sometimes it goes back and forth. Okay, so
yeah. So like just for me personally, because sometimes like if I watch a movie and I'm like I already know this isn't gonna be a 4 star for me, and like why am I fucking wasting my time, And then like I start like just seeing all the wrong things with it instead of seeing the good things,
yeah, yeah.
And it's like I should weigh both. I should be like, does it have more good things than bad things, or is it mostly bad things? Because if it's mostly bad things, then I'm a dunk on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was gonna say most of the films I watch are mostly bad. I can't find a lot of positives when I watch a film that I hate.
Yeah, I just always think like if someone was reviewing my movie, like I would want them to be nice, you know?
I know I don't know if I'd care so much because I know for a fact whatever I would make would be super niche.
Yeah.
Like most random people, like most people that go to theaters, if they saw something I would make, they'd be like, "What the fuck is this, dude? This is dark and weird. I don't like it."
Yeah.
Well, I
That's
guess it
good.
would just be very, yeah. I guess it would just be very vengeful and dark. I don't know. It wouldn't necessarily be like know anything crazy.
The Zoller heads would be like, oh, I fuck with this guy.
Yeah.
There's all the Zoller heads.
But yeah, that was, I forgot who it was. Maybe it was a high school teacher of mine, but somebody once said the difference between high school and college is in college, you have to explain why. In high school, I don't like it. Okay, fine. But that doesn't fly in college. You have to explain why you don't like it, you know?
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I heard that like maybe 7, 8 years ago, and I still remember it.
That's cool. I always like when shit
Yeah,
sticks
I
with
think
you.
that's a good, yeah. Well,
But yeah.
shit, man, that was a long, let's move on to the next lighthearted. Unless you have anything else to say.
I was just gonna say, yeah, bottom line, like, if you've seen a Kauffman film before, okay, first off, don't make this your first Kauffman film. Watch Synecdoche, watch Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Watch some of his older stuff, and if you dig that, then watch this, because you'll really like it. But if you don't like those movies, then you're probably not gonna like it. It's not gonna change anyone's opinion of Kauffman.
This is a hot take, but I think Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is overrated.
Yeah, I like it, but again, like,
it was okay. Fucking rated. It's not the best romantic movie of all fucking time.
Yeah,
which many people make it out to be.
I really like. I want to rewatch it. I want to just do like a Kauffman week where I just watch everything.
To be honest, I didn't even finish it. That's how much I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah. But yeah.
God, movies suck sometimes. Movies are fucking awful, but sometimes they're fucking amazing.
I think they're mostly amazing. That's why I watch them. You know, I genuinely
think it's half and half. I think half of the movies are kind of ass and half movies are good. It's just the foreign shit that I'm tapping into now. I got to find all the good Korean and the Japanese and the French and this. I feel like for the most part, I've done a decent amount of digging on my American exploitation films.
Yeah, there's so many movies. So it's been so long, you know, over 100 years worth of movies. It's so long. That's what I love about it. It seems endless to me. Like, I'll never watch everything, you know?
Yeah. Well, you don't want to. No one wants to.
No, I would. That's one of my goals, is to watch as many as I can, you know? I want to be able to say, like, oh yeah, I've seen that, or like, I know that this type of film does this, or like, you know, I want to have that knowledge. But that's just me, because
I have so many movies to show you. Then I have so many fucking movies to show you.
That's what I said, dude. I will never watch every single movie, and it's impossible.
But you want to, and therefore you will at least attempt.
Oh yeah, I always give most things.
Well, there you go. Because I know going into this that I don't want to watch every single movie. Most movies suck. You know, and that's just a reality. That's just, for me, that's my reality.
I was listening to the podcast with Mike, and he said something that I agree with mostly. He said most movies are average. You know, like that's why he gives most movies like 3.5, because he's like, most movies have good qualities, but they don't quite execute what they're going for. You know, like he's like, most movies are average, and I kind of agree with that. Like, I tend to be a little more positive. You know, you tend to be a little more negative, but like,
I can finish an average movie. There's many movies I haven't finished. I can finish an average movie. Harold and Kumar Go to White House. That's an average movie.
But like, if you take our ratings, like if you take the middle of them, it's kind of like what Mike says. It's like, it's kind of like an average score. You know, something you hate, but I kind of like it. Kind of like cancels out in a way. So it kind of makes it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I kind of agree with Mike in that. Like, most movies are average. He kind of got mad because like some people on Letterboxd will give like everything 5 stars, you know?
No, I hate that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I try to like not be jealous, because I wish I could be that enthusiastic. You know, I wish I could just be like, oh, I really like that, 5 stars. Like, I have to like.
I don't think they're that enthusiastic. I think they just like the movie and don't know how else to 5 stars. Because when I see someone give a 5-star to a film, I think this is perfect. Then this is 100% absolutely perfect. If you're giving 5 stars,
that's what a 5-star should be.
Yeah, exactly. To me, a 5-star means a perfect film. So it's a trip to see, like, oh, you think Toy Story 3 is a flawless film? Okay.
Yeah.
Weird, but okay.
It's just like, I don't know. I know some critics that do that, and I really respect the critics. But like, when I see them write something 5-star, I have to be in the back of my head like, okay, remember he also gave this movie 5 stars, so like. Yeah. Don't take it as like the sign of like, oh, this is a perfect movie. Like, you know, like you were saying, it's just something they like.
No, yeah, I'm definitely more pessimistic and negative. It just takes a lot to, not a lot, but predictable movies don't impress me. You said I like how it's predictable. I don't know how you could do that, dude. I fucking hate predictability in films. Hate it. I don't know how everyone does it.
Because I'm more interested in like the tool, like the way they're getting to the end rather than the end itself. You know, like because like I want to make my own stories. So like I want to be able to like know how a story functions. You know, I want to know how this character is developed. You know, like how it fits in the mold of like the traditional character. You know, rising action, climax. You know, resolution. You know, I want to know how they get there. You know, but I agree like that sometimes it becomes formulaic, and you're like, this person obviously doesn't have any original ideas in his fucking brain. You know,
Then
he's
why
just
give them money?
well, like I said, I like movies. I like taking chances on movies. I like supporting art. I like supporting movie theaters. But we can't do that anymore, which sucks. Can't
Good.
go to the movie theaters
I do
and
miss
what
going to the theaters. Yeah,
and what
even though nothing good has come out this year, I still miss going to the theaters.
oh I like the so that we'll have to do this another episode. We can move on too because this is kind of a good segue because I
Yeah.
think like this has been somewhat of a strong year for documentaries. There's this documentary
Oh
called
yeah.
Boys
Um,
State that we should watch at some point because
yeah, I was
it's
gonna
a
say
really good documentary.
the other documentary I really liked beside Feels Good Man is Class Action Park. It's a
Oh
HBO
yeah, I still gotta watch
original.
that.
It's pretty good. I already knew a lot about Action Park beforehand. I've seen a couple documentaries on it, so this was just another really fun documentary to watch about Action Park. Yeah, I mean, yeah, documentaries has been good, but like everything else, like the best movie I can think of off the top of my head this year is The King of Staten Island, and that's not good. So yeah,
Um,
I liked the film a lot. It was a 4 out of 5 star, but is that the best 2020's got? Christ, that's bad then. That's not
uh,
good.
there's this new documentary coming out on Friday. It's called Dick Johnson is Dead. I really want to see that. That'd be a good topic too down the road. But
I'm
the one
surprised normally you're not a documentary guy. I'm actually kind of surprised.
yeah, well, you know, like that's what I said. Like,
Like it's the only good thing out this year. I don't have a choice.
that is part of it. I won't lie, that is part of it. But another part
Yeah, there we go.
another
There we
part of,
go. You're admitting a little bit of. There we go.
another part of it, because yeah, like anyone who follows movies like knows that like it's been slim pickings this year, like for sure.
Yeah,
Like
and
I don't even know. I don't even know if I'm gonna have like a top 10 that I'm like legitimately proud of, which is like the first year. Like, but basically, I want to say like the reason I've been getting into documentaries is because it's like you know it is a blind spot for me. I don't watch that many documentaries, and so like I'm trying to you know be able to say like oh yeah at least I've seen that documentary as of saying like oh I don't watch documentaries. You know I want to be
that's
like
crazy to me. That's crazy.
yeah
Because
yeah.
just as a huge music fan, I'm surprised you just aren't listening to music documentaries all the time.
Well, okay. Well,
There's
this
tons
is
of them.
so we're talking about Feels Good Man, which is a good a really great documentary.
Yeah.
But I keep referring to this Mike interview that I was listening to because basically the interview was him talking about Buffalo '66, but before he talked about that movie, because like yeah, it's so weird that that's like one of Mike's favorite movies. I would have never ever
That's
ever guessed
crazy
that.
because I completely forgot about the second. I don't even know what happens in the second half of that film.
I can't
They
believe that
leave the
Mike
parents'
remembered.
house, and I don't remember what happens.
But basically, yeah. So like, but the first part of the interview or the podcast episode is just Mike talking about like his theory of like film and like how he rates things and like why he got into criticism, blah blah blah, right? But one of the things he was talking about with documentaries, and I this is usually my problem with documentaries, honestly. Mike put it really a lot meaner than I'm gonna put it, so just keep that in mind. But
It's okay to be
basically,
mean.
but what Mike said basically is like a documentary has to justify itself as a film before it justifies itself as a documentary. So like there has to be a reason that this is being filmed and being, you know, like claimed as being a movie, you know, as a film rather.
Yeah.
So like if a documentary is just a bunch of talking heads telling me a bunch of information that I could have just looked up on Wikipedia or I could have just like read a book about, it's probably not gonna get more than like a 3.5 star for me, and it's probably gonna get like an even lower score from Mike. You know, so like that's kind of like my problem usually with documentaries is like it's just stuff I could have got better information from like online or like a book or something. You know, it's like it might be entertaining, and that's why I'll give it like 3.5. But
However, the only counter I would have to that is there's a lot of times where documentaries, it will be the only source of information. Is just talking to somebody themselves. Like, I'm sure I'm going to fuck this up, but I'm just thinking someone like Bunny Wailer, you know, like there's probably things in that Rastafarian growing up in Trenchtown in the 60s that probably isn't on Wikipedia because Jamaica doesn't have, you know what I mean? Jamaica's not a place of, oh, let's put everything on the internet. Like those are stories where you can probably only find them on a Bunny Wailer documentary.
One of my favorite documentaries is called Paris is Burning,
Okay.
and it's about like drag competitions in New York in like the early 90s, or I guess late 80s when it came out.
Cool.
And but it's like one of those things where like I could have read a book about it, and like it would have had to have a lot of pictures, but you just kind of lose something by not being able to film like these competitions of them dancing and like doing all this colorful stuff. And it's like the same thing. It's like if you see footage like in a documentary, and you're like, like this footage is crucial to the story it's trying to tell, then yeah, it totally justifies itself. But like so often in my experience with documentary, it's just kind of like just people telling you what happened, and there's no reason for it to be a documentary, or like there's no reason for it to be like a full length feature. I could see it being
Yeah.
like a little documentary series or something, or like a YouTube
Yeah.
series. But
Then
like
yeah,
yeah,
I do like those more, the docu-series.
because I think that's more of like,
More digestible. It's easier to
yeah,
digest.
it's more of like the format it's trying to tell the story, like because a film should be,
Ah, okay, okay, I
you
get
know
what you mean. Yeah,
yeah, like a film should be like a story, it should have a start, have an end,
I get what you mean now. Yeah,
and like
okay.
if you have like all this footage where you have like 10 episodes worth of footage, like The Last Dance, like if The Last Dance was just a documentary film, I don't know, man, I don't know how good it would have been, because
No,
it's like,
I agree with that just because that shit was packed with so much information.
yeah, and it was cool to watch each episode. It kind of talked about a little different while having that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I think that's really cool. But again, like I think a lot of documentaries fail because they don't ask themselves that question. It's like, why am I making this a film versus X? Versus like a
Yeah.
web series or a blog post or whatever.
Well, shit, man. I've never until now really distinguished a real difference between, as far as the art form goes, in docu-series and documentaries.
Right.
Because for me, it's just, I just want the information.
Yeah.
I don't, yeah, it's going to be harder to pay attention to a 2-hour documentary as opposed to 4 episodes. But at the end of the day, I just want to learn. Like, there's a doc, I haven't watched it yet. I think I saw maybe the first 15 minutes on Magic Johnson and Larry Bird.
Yeah.
Both, there's a lot of, that's stuff that, yeah, I can read the entire Magic Johnson Wikipedia article and the entire Larry Bird Wikipedia article, and I bet I'm still going to learn some stuff in the documentary.
Yeah. It's just, again though, it's just like how you like, because like for me, it's more of like an art question.
Yeah, for
You know what I
me,
mean?
it's an information thing, so we
Yeah.
definitely view them differently. The most artistic documentary, though, definitely say probably Feels Good, Man.
I mean, literally.
Yeah, exactly, literally.
Literally the one that's about the most art. Yeah, so I guess I can start with what I thought about it.
Yeah, yeah,
I really liked it.
same, yeah.
I do think there's two stories it's trying to tell, and that's why I kind of think that it fails in the end. But I enjoyed watching it. I thought it was a really fun watch.
So you gave it a 3.5 for them
Gave it 3.5.
because it
Yeah,
failed. How did it fail exactly?
quote unquote failed. It sounds.
How did it quote unquote fail them?
So I think it's telling two stories. It's telling the
What are the
story
two
of
stories?
it's telling the story of the creator of Pepe the Frog. I forget his name. I should have wrote it down. My bad.
I don't know his name either.
But yeah, it's telling his story, his process of like dealing with the whole 4chan alt-right explosion.
Uh-huh.
And then if there's another story it's trying to tell, like more of an anthropological, sociological story, where it's like this is how like like the dude that was talking about memes, how memes were actually like an ancient thing, where it's like people get obsessed with symbolism, and then the symbolism turns into like an ideology and etc. Like that was the stuff that I was more interested personally. Like I think the dude that creates Pepe the Frog is a cool guy. I think he's like seems like one of the most fun people to hang out with. But compared to like the larger sociological questions that the film was raising, it just felt for me flat, because it was just like I'm more interested in like the anthropological,
That's
like
funny
why
because
people get.
that's the part I did not care about. That's the part where I was like, why do they gotta overanalyze this? Those type of videos, when it comes to actually wanting, because sometimes I do like learning about that stuff too. That's what I use YouTube for. To me, it was like, okay, we have this guy here, this creator, we have an hour and a half. So we're gonna spend 30 minutes of it not talking to him, theorizing a bunch of bullshit that someone on YouTube could have done. instead of getting more interviews with this guy, asking him more questions.
Well,
Asking about his family life. He had a daughter that he never really talked about.
I mean, I think like that's the thing though, right? I just like my complaint is that it's two different movies kind of where it's like if they wanted to go that direction, I think that would have worked. If they would have focused more on him, I think I would have liked it less, but I think it would have worked. I think it might have been more successful overall. But I want to say, like, I think he's such a great guy, but he's like kind of clueless about like, one, he waits so long to take action for to do anything.
Dude, that guy looks stoned out of his mind.
I know.
Throughout the whole film. He doesn't even know we're in the year 2020 right now.
I don't want to be mean to him because he seems so nice, but like, yeah, you're right. He's like,
hey, I'm ripping on him.
He's clueless, and that's what kind of like for me, it was like underwhelming to like learn so much about him because like I was like asking myself like, he's such a nice guy, he's so fucking cool, but like the story they're trying to tell that's like this larger than life story, like he's obviously like not like that's not how he thinks, like he doesn't think like in larger, broader sociological terms, so
is
like,
it his job to?
But the directors feel that they want to frame the movie that way around him, and I think that's where it
true,
fit.
Yeah. I can agree with that. Yeah, definitely. I think the makers of the film probably cared a lot more about claiming Pepe back from the alt-right than the actual guy who created Pepe.
Yeah, and
it just seems like he wants to move on with his life and just.
I think because like again, like I think if the purpose of the movie is to take back Pepe the Frog, then it fails just in conception because like one, a movie in 2020 is not going to change anyone's mind about anything, because it's like the people who are going to watch this film, it's like really hard to watch in the first place if you don't have a VPN. You can only watch it I think on Apple and you have to rent it, right?
I found it very easy to torrent.
No, I'm saying if you don't torrent movies, if you like don't have access
you don't have to have a VPN to torrent.
Well, I personally don't feel, because I've gotten plenty of cease and desist letters of downloading.
So just the way you phrased it, I just had to, if you have a VPN, then it's hard to, it's like, you can still find it without one.
No, I was just trying to say, like, if you don't have a VPN and you don't feel comfortable downloading new movies, because a lot of the times they're flagged, and you'll get an email saying, you downloaded Game of Thrones season finale, you download this new movie on Netflix. Like, if I had tried to download, I'm thinking of ending things without like a VPN, I would be a little worried because like I would assume that Netflix has that flagged, and that if you're not using VPN, you're gonna get an email and you might lose your internet because that's usually what the email says.
There was a period of time where I did not use a VPN to torrent my stuff, and I found Feels Good Man, torrented it, no VPN, and I'm fine. I'm still alive. I don't have any bullet holes in me. The FBI hasn't come and spread my cheeks open, so I think I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if you're like me and you have had that happen before, like, I just don't take any chances anymore. Like, I'd rather have a VPN, rather be safe about it, and if I have to wait to watch the movie, then I have to wait.
I would have rented the film for $5 off Amazon anyways. It was that, to me, it was something I was interested in. I liked the film a lot. I gave it 4 out of 5, and to me, a documentary, I guess as far as the rating goes, it's just, did it entertain me? Was I bored? I was never bored watching this documentary. I wasn't bored at all. Everything, even the sociological mumbo jumbo, even that was somewhat interesting. And like I said, I don't hate that stuff. That's just something. That's just something that thousands of people on YouTube are already doing. So why do I need it in your film? When you're just going to be, the moment this is released, there's just going to be 5 more of these guys analyzing your film in the exact same way.
Well, I think an important distinction would be that the people that are talking Feels Good Man are experts on, because like it was trippy, dude. Like I was watching the film and one of the people they were interviewing, like I instantly recognized him because I follow him on Twitter, and I was like, holy shit, like I fucking recognize you so quick because like I follow your political analyses on Twitter, and I was like, so like instantly for a viewer like me, I was like, okay, I kind of actually trust what this guy's saying because like I follow him on Twitter, so obviously I think his opinion is valid. It's just. But as opposed to like some random YouTuber, I'm not getting necessarily.
Wait, what if that random YouTuber has a doctorate in psychology, though? You never know.
That actually qualifies as like an authoritative kind of like I can talk about this because I have the necessary research.
And there's definitely at least 2 channels where dudes, I mean, because you're right, most people probably don't have any sort of real credentials, but there's got to be at least 1 or 2 of guys that have legitimate degrees who analyze psychologies, who analyze certain people.
Yeah, but see, it's like one of those things where it's like there's so many different angles you can take it to. Where it's like if psychology is one, anthropology is one, so like
Yeah.
you can really break it down into all these different like questions. Like why do humans do this? Why does society make people? And so like I would personally be interested in watching YouTube videos on that, but like it's one of those things
as am I when I'm in the right mood for it. I don't like it being shoved down my throat when I'm trying to watch a cute documentary on Pepe the Frog.
Yeah, and see that's just again, that's like the two different movie things. It's 2 different movies. It's one trying to tell, like you said, this not more lighthearted story, and another one trying to be like
even
more.
If it was 2 different movies, I had fun watching it. I wasn't bored, and to me, that's what matters. I was not bored, and I'm bored watching most movies, or not most, but most random films. Like if you just randomly put something on without any regard of what my taste is, I'm probably gonna hate it.
Yeah, see, I'm the opposite. I'm usually gonna find it interesting because like
which is crazy how much you hate movies I show you, but you'll love Thor Ragnarok.
I mean, I don't hate movies you show me. Like I said, I like most movies. Even like when I rate something 2.5, like 2.5 is like my like it was like I had problems with it, but it entertained me. Like that's kind of like my 2.5, So like imagine like that kind of sort of rating scale where it's like even a 2.5 I would say entertained me, because that's what like even Joker, I don't like that movie that much, but like I wasn't necessarily bored while I watched it. I still found it kind of entertaining.
Do you think you don't like it solely because of the political shit surrounding it?
I think I don't like it
because you're not white, so you're not allowed to like this movie.
I don't like usually there's 2 reasons why I don't like a movie. The first reason is usually because it's trying, like you said, it's trying to shove something down my throat. Like it's trying to like it starts with the message before it starts with like the craft of the movie.
Yeah.
And the other type of movie I don't like are just movies that they're either all style, no substance because they don't use the style correctly.
That's angst right there.
Or they are bad style. Like it's either like bad style or style used like incorrectly. And I think Joker is the latter. I think it uses its style incorrectly, and it doesn't tell a compelling story for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say Todd Phillips isn't necessarily the guy you go to for style.
Yeah, I do think it's a beautiful movie though. Like as far as like cinema, because I realized I'm getting really into like cinematography. Like it just kind of it's starting to naturally happen.
John Ford's your man then.
Like where I'm just trying to get into like the aspect ratio.
Watch The Searchers.
I've seen this. I gotta rewatch
it. Okay, rewatch it as a cinematography head, and you're gonna be like, holy shit.
Yeah, because I've just been like looking at lenses and stuff, so like I want to get more into cinema. But yeah, I think that's usually my kind of like when I don't like a movie, it's usually one of those things.
The only thing I hate about cinematography is that there are many movies where that's the only thing going for them.
Yeah,
there's a lot of like that movie, that Peter Bogdanovich movie Targets. That was the only good thing in the whole movie was the cinematography.
Yeah, I like that movie a lot, but I mean it's just taste, because if the cinematographer working for you, usually like it's like a thematic reason why it's working for you, so it's like because the the scene is set up like this and it's shot with these types of shadows, like it's telling me that this character can't be trusted, or it's telling me that this scene is really abstract scene, or like it's trying to tell the story through the style of it, and I respond to that.
I will never love a movie where a man stops a gunman by slapping him 3 times and he drops the gun and starts cowering. Come the fuck. I know we've already talked about this, so we're not going to get too into it, but Christ, dude, that is...
Dude, yeah. See, that's another thing like I was talking about with like horror. Like that kind of stuff happens in horror all the time, where it's
it's fucking usually... That's why there's a lot of shitty horror movies.
I mean, I don't know. It just depends, again, because like for me, I've grown like I guess a tolerance for lack of a better way, where it's like, okay, I'm watching a horror movie, I'm not gonna like nitpick it. I'm gonna more like, is it making me feel things? If it's not, then I'm gonna be nitpicking.
That's crazy, because most of those films, the only thing I feel is anger. Because it's so bad, it's just like the only thing I feel is that I want to turn this off.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, that's just, I like horror because like I'm always interested in like, I like good horror. You know, I'm not necessarily at the point where I can watch like
I like
everything, you know, but
Jason X. Jason Goes to Space. It's
there's
the 10th
actually
Friday the 13th, by the way.
there's this critic I like. His name on Twitter is Trillmore Girls, and I just love it because like he always stands like these like really like quote unquote bad movies, like movies that like you know you would think would be like Jason X or Freddy vs Jason, or like
Yeah,
Jackass
yeah.
2.0, or like any of these movies that you wouldn't think like a film
Hey,
critic would.
2.0 is great.
I know, but you wouldn't think a film
No, no,
critic
I
would
should.
be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And like he will like write these like long pieces on these movies on like why they're actually good, and he'll like trash like you know a movie like you know like I don't know like just off the top of my like
Like
Cassavetes.
Dogville.
Yeah, I'm sure he probably likes Dogville. I think, but like you know just like
Who
a
doesn't?
normal a movie that like a lot of people are raving about, he'll like trash. But like,
Interstellar.
but yeah, he probably did like Interstellar. Like, but he'll like you know Freddy vs Jason or something, and I always gotta respect that because it's like
Ugh.
you have some hot takes and you got the facts and critiques to back them up. Like I'm game. Let's go. You know, let's talk about it. I
I
like
would
that stuff.
definitely hate both, but I'm not sure which one I would hate less. I'm gonna side to Freddy versus Jason. I think that'd be more watchable than Interstellar to me.
Yeah,
I'm not sure though.
but
I
yeah,
hate both, so
but yeah, it feels good, man. I did like it. But yeah, it's not my favorite documentary of the year.
yeah.
I think that still goes to Boy State, which I think we should talk about sometime when we run out of ideas.
I was gonna say, what
uh,
is that on a streaming service at all?
so it's kind of the same deal where I think it's only on Apple, but you can
Oh,
torrent.
torrent it.
It's
Yeah.
on torrents. Yeah.
If it, as long as it's on 1337X, I'm gonna get it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Pepe the. However, I guess we should remind the listeners. Sorry, because I actually mentioned this the other day when I had a few friends over. It is not pro white nationalism, white, and nothing like that. It's the documentary is about the original creator, who created Pepe, and I want to say what like 2010 or something, a long time ago. And it's kind of about how it's been misappropriated by the alt right and how he kind of wishes somehow he could take it back.
Dude,
So
one
when I
thing.
told somebody about the Pepe, they're like, "Oh, what?" And they like, kind of looked at me wrong, and I'm like, "Oh, no, no, it's not. It's not pro alt right. It's not pro alt right. Believe me."
Yeah. And fuck, I was gonna say fuck. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Oh man,
But
shit, my bad.
but that did remind me that like yeah, it is being taken back. Like I think it was China, right? They were using it as more of like a protester symbol.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
and I was like, that actually moved me. That actually like I was actually moved by that. I was like, oh wow, that's actually pretty moving. But
yeah.
yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say something about Pepe the Frog, and I totally forgot. Oh, I remember
Uh-huh.
the scene that I found like actually kind of like horrific in a way was when they go to that 4chaners house, not the first one, the second one,
Oh
and
yeah.
they like black out or
Ooh,
they like blur the faces of his family. Like his
I
family
that was
was like
bad.
so embarrassed by him. Like
That
you could tell.
guy. I'm surprised that guy went on camera and did that
Well, I think it makes sense to me because it's like
because he's
that
not self-aware of how much of a loser he is.
he's proud of it. In fact, you know what I mean? Like that's the whole 4chan mentality, isn't it? Where it's like they're proud to be beta males. They're proud to
They
be.
say that through a keyboard, but if you saw any of these fools in person, they're just gonna be the lonely kid masturbating on a bus publicly. You know,
Yeah, that's why they're so angry, though. You know, it's because they're so such fit.
it's
I mean,
crazy. I love 4chan as far as MU goes, but anybody on the political board, I will knock the fuck out.
yeah. So
But
yeah,
those are the
that
people that are misappropriating Pepe, basically. The political board is like really, really bad. You honestly might like the music board. The music board's pretty cool.
but yeah, that dude tripped me out, dude.
Yeah, that was very alarming, definitely.
I was
That
like,
was
holy
sad,
shit,
yeah.
man.
You see, like you mentioned earlier, the fact that his entire family was censored means that they didn't want to sign the release form, which really
Yeah,
is telling about their son.
he's so like mysterious too in a way, because like he's like when they're interviewing him, he seems like a pretty rational dude. You know, he seems like a
Yeah,
pretty like he almost talks like at some points he almost talks like he has like regret. You know, like he almost is like
definitely.
I'm like regretful where this has ended up, but like other times he'll be like more like yeah we fucking showed those normies like
Yeah.
shit like that. So like he's a very scary guy
I
overall,
was
I would
I
say.
was about to say it's gonna be great when that guy's 45 and he looks back on this, but also I stopped myself and I'm like, you know what? He's probably gonna be proud of it. I mean, if you're a racist at 20, you're probably still gonna be a racist at 45.
Yeah, I think I honestly, unfortunately, I do think you know a lot of people are lost in a big way where it's
Not
like you
not
know.
to not to inherently imply that that guy was racist. He could be, he could not be. I don't know. But just something I thought about, you know, like, these people on 4chan are really going to look back when they're 50 and they're going to be like, what the fuck was I doing? Wasting all that time for absolutely nothing.
Or, you know, if I was to be a pessimistic person, I could be like, they might be the kings of the world in
Those were the
50
best
years.
years of those were the best years of my life when I was sitting alone in my basement with two different cum socks on my bed. Yeah, those are
Yeah,
the best years of my life. And the
dude,
sad thing is, there's probably going to be few people that think that legitimately.
well, I mean, yeah, that's what's scary about the country right now
Exactly, man.
is that it honestly it could end up where those people are actually like people of privilege, you know.
Mm.
It could end up where Donald Trump is in his 14th term or some shit like that, you know. It's like 4chan rules the world. Like, oh God, to think about it, it's just horrible, horrible.
Do you
But
genuinely
yeah,
think that could happen?
I do think it's a possibility. Yes.
That's not
I
gonna
mean,
happen.
it's not very
That's
likely
not gonna happen.
that 4chan rules the world, but
No.
it's
I
likely that something breaks in the next few years, and that
oh yeah, there's gonna be massive political unrest for the next 10 to 15 years. I think a very radical liberal will have assassinated somebody by that point.
I hope so.
Um,
Fuck.
I'm pretty sure that's why I don't think it's gonna happen, because I'm not pro or for it, but there's definitely going to be some very radical Antifa members that are going to be looking to kill if it gets down to that point. And I think it very well could get down to that point. Do I think Donald Trump is going to be in 14 terms? No, he will get assassinated before that. Actually, in theory, he'd probably just die since he's incredibly old. He's like the oldest living president to like have ever served office. It's kind of weird.
That is weird.
Like, isn't he like older than John McCain or some shit?
I don't know. Is
No,
he? I don't know. I don't
who
know. I
knows? Who
honestly
knows?
don't
And
know.
who cares? All we can do is we can just hope he dies sooner.
Yeah. Anyways, top five.
Top
Quick,
five or quick
quick five.
five.
Quick five. Quick
Uh,
five.
can I go first on this one? I'm gonna do film this time.
Go for it.
I'm just gonna read off my diary. Here we go. No playing around. So I watched Bad Day at Black Rock, which was a Western from 50. Sorry, I needed to scroll my phone. So 1955. It's in color. It's apparently my grandpa says it's his favorite film ever. So
Oh
I'm glad
wow.
I finally got to watch it. It was a quick 80-minute, 3.5
Beautiful.
star, nice little Western. Directed by the guy who did The Magnificent Seven, I believe.
Okay.
John Sturgis.
I
Yeah,
heard of
he did The
him.
Magnificent Seven. Yes, so
I
him.
heard of him. I heard of
Yeah,
him.
so we got, and then I watched Your Highness, which
Oh, is it as bad as everyone says it is?
yeah,
Damn, it's not
I
even
didn't
like
know
it's
what I
not even like it's not even like funny bad.
no, that's the shitty thing. Is
Yeah,
because I looked up who wrote it. Danny McBride wrote it. I like Danny McBride.
it's the same Pineapple Express director too. So
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly. It's weird.
are you gonna watch The Babysitter, the third one in the trilogy?
Eventually, I probably will.
Yeah, that
I
was
only
that.
watched Your Highness because it was on HBO Max, and I was like, oh, fuck it.
Hey, we should watch that. We should do a commentary on The Babysitter or
Ooh,
something.
good idea. All right, so that's two. Um, I'm thinking of ending things. Well, that doesn't count. I already talked about that. Screw it, it counts. Fourth is Helter Skelter, which is
Oh,
actually a Japanese film from 2012 that I thought I was gonna like it, and I fucking did not. It was a 2-star over here. The only reason I watched it is it's basically supposed to be the redone. Basically very inspired by the anime Perfect Blue, the anime film.
gotcha.
Yeah, it's basically the real life quote unquote adaptation. It's about some girl who's like super fake and.
See,
tries to pay her.
I would guess that would be bad just based off like you're trying to make remake a classic movie.
It's not a remake. Basically, I got to this list on Letterboxd where it was a bunch of like, stuff inspired by this like Uncut
Oh,
Gems
it's
was
like
inspired by California. What was that Altman film? California
California
Split?
Split, yeah.
There we go.
Oh,
California
it's
Split.
like okay, my bad. I thought you meant they like remade Perfect Blue.
Yeah. Oh no, there was definitely some stuff I was very on that list that I was not digging. But they compared this Helter Skelter movie to Perfect Blue in a sense. I'll just read. through round after round of extensive plastic surgery, blah blah blah, girl. Basically, her shit starts coming undone, like Michael Jackson in that South Park episode. His nose is falling off, you know.
Why is it called Helter Skelter?
Oh man,
Does it have anything to do with
it
Manson
has
or the
nothing to
Beatles?
do with Manson or the Beatles.
Dang.
The one thing I will say about this, just to rip on it, is the only thing that they show, the only way they show her body decaying is by visible bruises. Like, I think the nose falling off would have been, it's not like her fake boob pops or anything or deflates, nothing. It's just like, oh, I'm decaying, and she just has a bunch of like black like shit on her face and her thighs and shit.
Yeah.
Like, there's other ways to convey your body decaying beside visible face bruises. And lastly, this is a good one to end it on. I watched Teeth. The movie about the girl with the vagina that bites off penises.
Yeah, it sounds interesting.
Very kind of funny, because I watched I'm Thinking of Ending Things, Helter Skelter, and Teeth all in one day. Teeth was the most entertaining one. I mean, it is definitely not that, because the thing is, with the Kauffman film, academically, I know that's good. I know that's a good film. It's just not my thing, and probably many other things. But Teeth, you know, not good. Fun, but not a good movie, you know?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. I guess I respect Kauffman a lot. But unfortunately, I did enjoy Teeth more. But that's just because, I don't know. I'm a simpleton in that way. I'm a Neanderthal in that way. AJ likes movie where penis gets bite off. whatever. Still 2.5 star though. Nothing, you know.
Yeah.
It was one of those things. I watched it on effedupmovies.com, you know, and that's how you know, like, I don't want it. I don't want it in my torrent collection.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah,
but
I feel that.
I'm good.
Okay, so
You're good.
I'll start off. I'll do a quick 5 music.
Oh, hell yeah. Cool.
First up, I recently listened to Dick's Picks Volume 15 by the Grateful Dead.
Nice.
I didn't realize it was such a legendary show.
What year was that?
77.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so I realized I realized I don't really like Two Drummer Dead that much. I like One Drummer Dead.
All right.
And I think they have more like a boogie rock sound in 77, which I also don't like as much. But this show, Dick's Picks Volume 15, I think it's 9/3/77, I believe. Raceway Park, amazing show.
Gotcha.
Fucking not a song to skip. Everything's banger. Some of the best versions of certain songs. It was actually the biggest show they had played up at that point until they started playing like stadiums and stuff. So really important show, really good show.
I was gonna say, I know when you mentioned the boogie rock, that's kind of closer to them doing that song. I will get by. That was in the 80s, right?
Yeah,
the closer they get to that, it's safe to assume the not as good they're gonna be.
That's why 77 is like one of the most interesting years, because it's like right before.
It's right on the cusp.
Yeah, it's like their last really, really like professionally good year.
Gotcha.
And then of course, Lovely Bell by Thinking Feathers Union Local 282. A classic now, in my opinion. It starts off as like one of the weirdest things I've ever listened to, something that I'm like probably gonna listen to after this podcast.
Hell yeah.
Dinosaur Jr. Green Mind.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Nice.
I was listening to that earlier.
Hell yeah.
I also listened to Superchunk's No Pocky for Kitty, the Albini recorded one.
Oh shit, I'm gonna have to listen to that. I did not know he recorded for them.
Yeah, it's like their first like really good album. Like they have their self-titled, which is good. But then they work like they get like.
Oh, so it's before Foolish.
Yeah, it's 2 albums before Foolish.
Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, it's recorded by Albini. It's really fucking good.
Well, the whole thing.
The whole thing's good. Yeah.
Cool. I just know Guided by Voices have like, oh, these last 3 songs were recorded by Albini. You know.
Oh no, yeah, the whole thing's recorded by him.
Okay, good. I like that.
Some people say the second side B isn't as good as side A. I guess that's kind of true, but I think the whole thing's good.
Cool.
And then I've been really getting into this band called the Fiery Furnaces.
What scene are they a part of? Yeah,
they're part of like the New York revival scene of the early 2000s. Like they're like
hardcore. What kind of revival?
Oh no, like garage rock revival, like the Strokes, the Walkmen, Interpol, you know, people like that. But those are just the people they were like, you know, coming up with. They are like in a category of their own. They like are one of the weirdest, coolest bands I've ever heard, and they're kind of like they're kind of like the reason I think I got in the mood for Thinking Fellers, because I was in this like experimental mood. They like make these like really psychedelic proggy experimental songs that are like weird key changes and time signatures and stuff like that. It's really cool. So I would definitely recommend them.
Nice.
Fiery Furnaces. But yeah, that's my quick five.
Oh yeah. Well, why don't you tell the folks where they can find you at?
Oh yeah, you already did your top. For some reason, I thought you still did your top five.
That's all good.
You can find me on Twitter at Serious Listener. That's Serious like Sirius XM. Find me on Letterbox. You can just type in my name, Jacob Alarcon, or you can type in Fotsi Politic, the Cocteau Twins song. Find me on Instagram at Deadhead Danny, and you can pretty much find me everywhere else from there.
Oh yeah, and you know where to find me already on Letterboxd, Andrew Peckinpah, and all my other social links are right there for you. Make it easy.
Cool.
All right, well, that about does it for WDK. We do not know movies. I think we did all right though. And Black Lives Matter. Go Lakers, and have a good night.
Peace.